You're not in the frame. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me turn my volume.
Hello, hello, hello. It's that time. It's the Green Table Talk Show.
All right, let me tag some people because I'm telling you, every time we come on, someone's saying, I missed it. I wanted to see it live. And so I just want to make sure I tag some individuals right quick. But viewers, listen, if you know a caregiver, a family caregiver, an upcoming family caregiver that will be, providing care in the next 3 to 5 years, I would say, they need to be on the lives. They need to be in the room. They need to know all the ins and outs, all the resources, all the do's and don'ts, and entering into the senior care space as a caregiver. And so that's what we do here on the Green Table Live Talk Show. You have myself, Jessica Wright.
And I'm Ishonda Blue.
And we're your co-hosts and your senior care experts of the Green Table Live Talk Show. And so again, we come here and we talk about all things senior care to help you navigate this maze as being a caregiver, entering into a space that you know nothing about, and we just want to help you plan, help you prepare to enter into this space and to do it with grace. Yeah, do it with grace.
Informed decisions, right? If you make a decision, we want to make sure that you understand if there are any consequences behind it. Because on last week, if you did not see last week, I encourage you to go back and watch that replay. But one of the things that came up was about assets and how this lady who had moved her mom in. When she moved her mom in because she needed to take care of her. But I think a brother or somebody went and lived in the house, or uncle or somebody. Anyway, she was already on Medicaid, and she was approved for her Medicaid benefits. But when she got ready to reapply for her renewal, and she had moved out the house, and somebody else was living in it, it was now an asset, and how she was no longer eligible for Medicaid because of that asset. So we wanted tonight to talk about estate recovery. We're going to talk about what that is, what it means, and then we want to jump into some different assets that may qualify for estate recovery. So this is a really, really good topic on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Jess, you let me know when we're ready to dial in.
I think we're ready. I've tagged some people. Again, viewers, you all tag individuals that you know in the comment. If you happen to watch this on replay, please put replay in the chat because we like to know. And also, if you have questions, you have questions or topics that we have not yet discussed and you want to know more about that topic, please put that in the chat as well. And so again, we just want to help prepare you enter into being a caregiver, taking care of your loved one, and knowing the resources and things that you can do to take care of your loved one more effectively and cost effective as well. So that's what we're here about. So let's jump in.
Yeah, so let's start by talking about estate recovery. Now, what is that, and when do they encounter this topic?
So when I talk to individuals, they know nothing about estate recovery, and this is when you are going to use Medicaid to help pay for any care or services that your loved one may be getting ready to receive, whether it's in-home, adult day, personal care home, nursing home. this
Meals on Wheels,
yes, all of this
the alert bracelet
is subject to estate recovery. So don't say, well, no, I'm not going to sign up for the services because of estate recovery, and then in the next 6 months your loved one is in the nursing home and you have to go through it anyway.
That part. So you may first encounter it trying to get a community care covered, like Jessica said, in-home, adult day, those things, transportation, those types of things you'll encounter. Your first encounter is state recovery. But like Jessica said, if you refuse it, thinking, nah, I don't want to get the home care. But if you ever have to get to a nursing home or go to a nursing home, your senior loved one have to go to a nursing home, the same thing applies for nursing home. So it's like you really can't get away from it unless you have a plan to take care of your senior loved one without Medicaid. So
the formal definition of estate recovery, of course, is state and or any country, but estate recovery law varies. But generally, they allow the government to recover certain Medicaid expenses from the estate of deceased Medicaid recipients. So we're going to talk about all the assets, all the certain things that they may recoup from when paying for Medicaid services. So if your loved one get Medicaid services and you have assets and you sell them, the state will recoup those funds for the expenses that they paid for your loved one services. Point blank.
And I called the state one time and I asked that question: how many times do y'all really, go back and recoup someone's assets? And they said 100% of the time. So this is a very, very important conversation that we want to make sure you guys get some understanding on about estate recovery. It comes into play when you're getting any type of Medicaid assistance for your senior loved one, and they're going to look at their assets. So first thing, we got some tips, right? Number one, you want to plan early. And this is why, because like Jessica said, if you gift it away or you sell it, and if it's not in a certain time frame, they still can recoup it. And the last time I checked, it was a 5-year window.
Yes.
Right? So you want to make sure you're planning early. Number two, you want to make sure you get legal and financial professionals to consult with, because we're not legal and financial professionals. We're telling you what we know and what we've heard, but you still need to seek guidance from a legal and a financial professional who specializes in estate planning. That's number two. Number three is you want to identify assets that are exempt, because some assets are exempt. Which this is interesting to me. The primary home is protected as long as they living in it. And that's interesting.
Yeah. Anytime they sell something, they get ready to sell it. That's the key. When they deceased and your loved one, someone sells it, that's when they recoup.
And then up to certain limits.
Yes, that is important.
Up to certain limits. So those are some things to look at. And they said number 5 is the 5th one, is consider irrevocable trust. Those are ways that you can protect assets. So those are our 5 tips on tonight. But now we want to get into what are assets. What are these assets that can be seized or recouped? Let's talk about some of those.
Yeah. So, Whitney, I don't know if you can take note for us, because I really want us to put these points in the chat as we capture them. We're going to do a recap, but definitely want to make sure we're capturing them in the chat. But these are some assets that may that will apply to estate recovery. So, of course, your primary residence, a vacation home, rental properties, land. That's number one.
Up to a certain amount. So if it's like, I'm just putting a number out there, if it's like under 20,000, they may not consider it. But if it's of substantial value, let's just say that word, they're going to consider it.
But always go back and consult legal and financial professionals.
So number one, real estate.
Yes. Financial investments such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, retirement accounts, 401ks, annuities, CDs, financial investments. Bank accounts. So savings accounts, checking accounts, money market accounts, again, CDs, any kind of bank accounts, they will seize those.
I know sometimes we've gotten clients and they've had so much money in their checking account, they had to do like a spin down before they could qualify for Medicaid. So that's something to consider.
And I don't know the amount, but it is a certain amount that they cannot go over that can be in their bank account. So it is a certain amount. Again, you
that's
have
safe.
Like you have to spend down to this certain amount, or you have to, get those funds out of your account, out of your name. But yes.
Okay. What else could be? Now this is interesting.
Go ahead.
Business interests. That's interesting. So if you have ownership and interest in a partnership or a corporation or a closely held business, that's an asset.
It's an asset. Life insurance policies.
Yes.
I know, we were taught to, get these large cash value policies, but that's it. The cash value and death benefits of a life insurance policy by a senior. So if it's a certain amount, they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna tell you this policy, they cannot have this policy. Like, this is too much to have in their name.
Yes.
And that's, it's very hard for individuals who have planned, who have worked, and, a lot of seniors do not want to get things out of their name, they don't understand that. And so it's all about education. That's what we're trying to do here. Educate children. You're going to have to change roles.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to be able to educate. You're going to have to be able to talk to them before they get to a point where they don't understand the benefits and the significance of getting these things out of their name, so they can be able to take advantage of getting these services, community-based services.
Right. Because this is our last one. This is our last asset that we're going to talk about on the night. If you have a pension or retirement benefit. So what's going to happen is you're not going to qualify for Medicaid. So whatever 401k or pension or retirement, and we've seen this happen, it gets spent in providing that senior care, getting that senior care needs taken care of. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we're just saying that it can be some planning, some different planning can be done to kind of protect those assets, right?
Most definitely. And so, we just want to bring awareness. We want to sound the alarm, because we see time after time, many of individuals come to us needing services, needing help, seeking for care for their loved ones. And then these things come up. And this be a deterrent, a red flag. This hinders them from going forward and getting the care, getting the support, the help that they need. And, it leads to burnout. It leads to a whole lot of things that can happen. So we just want to, again, sound the alarm.
Yes. That's why it's important to plan early. We have a form that you can actually use to start the conversation with your loved one. And this is a great topic to start with: assets. What assets do they have? and how can we protect them, and how can they be utilized in the ways that they want to make sure that they're going to be utilized in, and then understanding what can be transferred, what needs to be transferred, what time frame. Those, like I said, 5 years is the look back period. I think about, we're down here in South Georgia, so I think about farmers and how a lot of them own land. So these are some things that you want to have conversations about and start in time, and get legal counsel, right? Go ahead and talk with a professional so you can understand when it comes down to moving the assets and planning. You want to make sure that you get a good legal estate, someone who specializes in estates. So those are our tips on tonight. So we talked about estate recovery. Again, that is something that comes into play anytime you get Medicaid assistance for community care, such as home care, adult daycare, any of those assisted living, personal care home, any of those things.
Nursing home.
And nursing home. That's the key. And nursing home. And sometimes things can happen in the home or at that or last minute that means they gotta go in a nursing home. So what happens if you haven't planned for this, right? You don't even have time to plan then. So yes, please start having that conversation.
Yeah, because we see so many individuals lose, valuable things that your parents, your loved ones have worked hard for, that wanted to pass those things down, and they just had no idea. No idea that this would happen, that this could be taken away. We're trying to provide some care and service for our loved ones, and willing to do whatever to take care of them, and then in hindsight we lose some legacy, some family treasures. So
Jessica, it happened to us. It happened to us with our grandmother, and we waited too late to have the conversation because she had started having signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's or dementia. And if you said anything to her about her property, because she remembered that because she had got it from her parents. So she had this property, and nobody was going to be able to get it out of her name. That's just an example of waiting, you should have the conversation early. And so we had to take care of her. Like we were going to do it anyway, but we definitely didn't want her to lose her assets that was given down to her. So it happens. It happened to us. It's real. And just making sure you're having that conversation early on.
And the time is now. This is what I really want to end with. Even though your loved ones may be vibrant, active senior adults, that the time is now to talk about it, not waiting until something event happens. It's too late. So while they are, again, still in their right mind, have their faculties, and able to make those decisions together, the time is now. So it's never too early to start planning. So do it now. I think we have the link. Yes, the link for the Senior Care Planning Guide is in the chat. Please download it. Please have a conversation with your family, with your loved ones, and so you can start planning, because that's key.
That's key. That's important.
All right. Well, this wrap up our session for this Monday. Again, if you did not see last Monday, this is kind of a part two to last Monday. We were talking about Medicare and Medicaid, and then we got on assets, and we wanted to do a deeper dive. And so here we are tonight. So definitely, if you missed last Monday, check out last Monday and put replay in the chat. But listen, put your notifications on, because you need to be aware when we come on every Monday at 6 p.m. We're talking all things senior care, navigating the ins and outs of how to plan, family planning and senior care. So listen, stay tuned, stay connected. We're on all social media platforms, Innovative Senior Solutions. You can find us there. So thank you all again for tuning in.
All right. See y'all next week.
Good night.